Good evening, good morning to those who are watching this video. When you go to a football game, you go there for a good reason. You want to see your favorite team win the game. Be happy, have fun, be excited. You also want to see your favorite player on your team to wreak some havoc. Or you go there with your friends and your family to support their team. Unless they're facing each other, of course, that's bound to happen. But what if I told you that the fans of Pittsburgh decided to take a visit to an ex-Steeler quarterback just to see him suffer? Well, that is what this video is going to be about. This is what we need to find out. Who is that quarterback? Who are the Pittsburgh Maulers? And what happened in a game on March 11th, 1984 between the Birmingham Stallions and the Pittsburgh Maulers. So, who's the quarterback that we're going to be talking about? Well, that quarterback is Cliff Stoudt. Have you heard of him? Neither did I until I picked up this book, Football for a Buck, which is an amazing read by Jeff Pearlman. It's a really great read. I highly recommended it if you are a big football fanatic like I am. So, Cliff Stoudt, you may not have heard of him as much because he was the one that was running the bench with Terry Bradshaw as he was leading the Steelers dynasty in the 70s and the early 80s. Well, in 1983, Terry Bradshaw, during training camp, was thrown for a pass on a wet field and he unfortunately slipped. And that caused him to have a severe injury with torn muscles and tendons. He had to use a fake name with his doctor so he could get away from the press by using, and this is freaking true, Thomas Brady. Yes, Thomas Brady. And Tom Brady, the real Tom Brady, was only 6 years old at the time in 1983. What a freaking coincidence that is. So, as Terry Bradshaw is recovering from surgery, he hasn't been fully healed until week 15. So that means Cliff Stoudt was at the helm for the first 14 weeks of the 1983 NFL season. So, the real question is, how well did Cliff Stoudt do? Let's take a look at his stats.
Holy look at all this damage!
No, the 96 record is alright, but oh my goodness. That is almost a double on touchdown to interception ratio, almost a 0.5 ratio. Holy crap. I'm seeing this number like I'm looking at Zach Wilson's number. In his 15th game, as I mentioned before, he came back against the New York Jets. But unfortunately, he suffered what could be a career-ending injury as he severely injured his elbow. And that will be the last time we will see Terry Bradshaw taking a snap on the field. So, Steelers did not make it to the playoffs that day, and in preparation of in 1984, Cliff Stoudt has signed a contract with the Birmingham Stallions of the United States Football League. And then, in week 3, he's going to face against the Maulers. But who are the Maulers exactly? Before the 1984 season of the USFL, the league decided to expand from 12 teams to 18 teams. That's a lot from coming up from your first season, right? And these teams included the Oklahoma Outlaws, the Memphis Showboats, the San Antonio Gunslingers, the Jacksonville Bulls, the Houston Gamblers, and yours truly, the Pittsburgh Maulers. So the biggest offseason of the Maulers was they were trying to sign a Heisman Trophy winner running back from Nebraska named Mike Crazier. But the commissioner, Chet Simmons, said, quote, "We can't tell anyone this, but if you can, Pittsburgh will get the first pick in the draft." Eventually, they did take him on the first pick of the draft of Mike Crazier. That's not even the biggest football story of the United States Football League. The biggest story, in my opinion, was when the Arizona Wranglers and the Chicago Blaze traded each other's roster, which I did a video on, and you can check the story out in the description below. It's a crazy story indeed. Now, we move forward to March 11th in 1984 in a Week 3 matchup between the Birmingham Stallions and the Pittsburgh Maulers. And in Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. The crowd was sold out. All 53,771 fans are wanting to cheer on Cliff Stoudt on, right? That's so what we see to think. There were shirts saying Death Wish. They were throwing snowballs and hard ice at Stoudt. Maulers kicker Tony Lee said, quote, "We were second-class citizens in Pittsburgh, and we knew it. They were in pain, watch us. They were paying to punish Cliff Stoudt." And I just want to put a side note here. The NFL and the USFL hated each other. Think of it like a younger sibling trying to gain power off of an older sibling. Think of it like that. And the USFL meant nothing for the NFL until future President Donald Trump decided to sue the United States Football League, but that's not until for another time. There was a lot of hatred behavior for the NFL, but it wasn't as much as it was this. That's a side note I wanted to point out there. So, every time Stoudt reaches to the 20-yard line, whatever it's at Maulers territory or Birmingham territory, this is where the fans are throwing snowballs, hard ice. Heck, let's throw some oranges into the mix. And heck, why not freaking beer? Because that's definitely going to not hurt him, right? So then the Maulers GM of George Heddleston said that they had to call security to clear out a whole entire section because they were throwing stuff at Stoudt. Stoudt obviously did not clear the server. He just wanted to play some football. But kudos to him for just playing through the game. And in fact, the game ended up with the Stallions' victory 30-18. It was a nice day for Stoudt. And this was the only time that Pittsburgh had a sold-out game. The rest of the time they were home, they didn't even crack 25,000. Kind of embarrassing. And yes, I know like the USFL had some like attendance problems, same with the modern day United Football League today. But oh my goodness, only one sold out game, and the rest of it you couldn't even crack 25,000. Embarrassing. The Maulers ended up with the worst record in United States Football League history, tying with the 1983 Washington Federals with a 3-15 record. They were so bad that Mike Crazier had to sleep in the laundry room during practice. But that's not the craziest stories. What crazy stories would you like to hear about more about the United States Football League or just football in general? This will do with the next Steeler getting mauled in Pittsburgh. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.